standing bold in faith. Today, I want to talk to you about something real, something raw, about letting go of control. Listen, I let go of control, and I'm going to tell you about what happened. Y'all, let go. I let go of control, and this is what happened. So, if you're the type of person who like to plan everything, raise your hand. I know that's me, honey. Even down to the cut, sometimes even down to the color of the sticky notes, but you're in a season where God is stretching you in your faith. This one is for you. Listen, before I get started, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, okay? Don't forget to like and share this video. And if you haven't subscribed, baby, you need to get on a board and subscribe because we're going to break this down step by step. But let me tell you what happened, okay? When I let go. So I was in a season where I was praying, I was planning, I was preparing to buy my first home. Okay. At the time, our church was celebrating the pastor's anniversary. So let me give you some context to that. So this is a small church. Our pastor did not receive a regular salary. He lived off uh well, he had a retirement and then he lived off whatever we raised for the anniversary. So whether we raised something big, something small, that's what was his salary the whole years, whatever we raised during the pastor's anniversary. And any money we collected during the year, it went to cover all the other expenses. It covered the cost of the van, the cost of the church bills, like the lights, the water, the yard work, repairing anything, keeping things up, keeping things clean. We had musicians, not magicians, musicians. Y'all forgive me, musicians. One musician, his equipment had to be paid for, and he was paid. The other one was at the time was my husband. He was working for free. They didn't give him a dime, but that's a different story. I'm not even going to talk about that part. But most of the members who were there were retired, low income, and gave what they could. Well, I was planning to give my usual offering, okay? But then the Holy Spirit kept nudging me to give more, specifically to give $100 more. I remember I was battling the spirit. I was, because I really didn't want to get that money. Okay. Sometimes what God asking you to do, you don't necessarily want to give, but you want to be want to lose something that you have. You want to be obedient though. So I was like, God, I can't do that. I'm saving for a house. I need to be ready. I want to move from where I live at. I don't like where I live at. I don't want my kids to grow up in this environment. But you know what? I went ahead and surrendered. God, I'm a trust you with this little bit. I gave what God gave me. I did what God told me to give $100 more than what I was gonna give. I said, God, I'm going to give it to you anyway. I'm going to surrender and I'm going to trust you and I am going to be obedient. Listen, not long after that, in fact, I believe it was less than a month later, God blessed us with a place to stay. Now, we first moved into this really nice apartment. It was big as a house, okay? It had 3 bedrooms. We moved in. I didn't have to pay any deposit, no application fee, no first month rent. All we had to do was to move in. And you can't tell me that wasn't God because they don't normally do that. And when it came actually time to buy, this was years later, when it came actually time to buy, something even more happened. I got to move in the place that I was buying even before all the papers were signed. We didn't hadn't even closed yet until it was like 3 weeks later when we were going to close because that's when they had the available appointment. But the family said they were believers. They said, something is telling me to do this for you. Something is telling me to trust you. Family, when I tell you God came through, because my dilemma was I had to come up with a certain set amount of money in order to move into this place, right? And to the place that I was buying. And I had to come up with earnest money. I had to come up with this money to hold until I can move. Well, I had a dilemma. That meant I had to use the rent money in order to do that. I could not, even though I had already put my notice in that I was moving and hadn't signed a new lease yet, I was still making the same payments for the apartment, right? And they didn't say anything as long as I was still paying my rent. But I wouldn't have been able to put that $1,000 on the house and move in and live in that apartment at the same time. So by them allowing me to go in over 3 weeks early, I was able to go ahead like, okay, I can move in 3 weeks early. And at the time, it was over a month, right? That meant moving over a month. So I was able to put in my other notice to give them a more specific date than I'm moving this date. And because it was over 30 days, I wasn't in a lease at all. I was able to move, which was wonderful. Okay. Y'all can't tell me God don't answer prayers, especially when you're obedient to his word. Hmm. I mean, even through that ordeal of moving into that apartment and moving into my own house that I own, people kept saying, something is telling me to do this for you. And it wasn't none but the Holy Spirit telling them to do this, to trust me, and do the things that they were doing for me. When I say God came through, I mean it. And he will come through. He'll come through for you too. So let me break this down so that we can be clear of the steps, the walk of faith that I've actually did. So first, I acknowledged that I needed God's direction. I wanted to do things my way. I wanted to save and plan and control the process. But I had to admit, God, I need you. I don't want to miss out on what you're doing because I'm focused on something else. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to your own understanding, and in thy ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Number two, I had to surrender my plans to God. That $100 was a lot, meant a lot to me at a time. I felt like my dream of ownership was slipping away, but God was giving it to me actually through my action of faith. So let go of what made sense to me and said, okay, Lord, I'll trust you with this seed. Step number three was obeying the prompting of the Holy Spirit. Obedience is where the miracles begin. I didn't understand why God asked me to give over the amount that I was originally give that I was saving. But when I look back, and that seed unlocked a harvest that could not have been predicted. Luke 6, Luke 6:38 says, give and it shall be given to you in good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be poured onto your lap. For the measure, for with the measure you see, you use it, it will be measured unto you. Question: have you ever felt God prompting you to do something that didn't make sense, or you were originally reluctant to do it? You didn't want to do it, but later you saw his hand was all over it. Comment in the leave a comment and share your testimony. So, to wrap things up, letting go of control is not easy. But when we're willing to do it, we make room for what God is trying to show off in our lives or show up in our lives. If this encouraged you, please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with someone who really needs a reminder that God is faithful. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my faith-filled comments. Until next time, make sure y'all watch these videos that follow and stay trusting in God with all the details.